Horror isn't just about jump scares. It's about stories that crawl into your head and stay there. So welcome back to another episode of Top Watch List. Today, I've got 7 of the most unforgettable psychological horror films ever made. Each one twists fear into something deeper, darker, and far more personal. So, if you're ready for nightmares you can't shake off, let's dive in. Swallow is one of those psychological horrors that crawls under your skin and refuses to leave. On the surface, it looks like a quiet drama about a housewife, but the deeper you go, the more unsettling it becomes. We follow Hunter, a woman trapped in her anxieties during pregnancy, who begins swallowing dangerous objects. First harmless marbles, then increasingly lethal things. It's a chilling metaphor for control, repression, and the hidden battles people fight in silence. What makes Swallow brilliant isn't just the disturbing imagery, but the suffocating tension that builds as you wonder how far Hunter will go. And speaking of unsettling, let's step into one of the strangest villages in horror history. Few horror films have the lasting power of The Wicker Man. This folk horror classic feels eerie from the very first frame, not because of jump scares, but because everything seems just a little too strange. Sergeant Howie arrives at a remote Scottish island to investigate a missing girl, only to find villagers who still practice pagan rituals. What begins as an odd cultural clash soon spirals into a nightmare, especially as May Day approaches. Every smile feels sinister, every ritual conceals a darker truth, and the ending is nothing short of legendary. Decades later, it still stands as a masterclass in slow-burn terror. But if you thought that was creepy, imagine being trapped alone in a police station with the shadows watching you. Sometimes the simplest horror setups are the most terrifying, and Last Shift proves it. A rookie cop, Jessica, is assigned to guard an abandoned police station for one final night. But as the hours tick by, the empty halls come alive with ghostly sounds, disturbing visions, and unsettling phone calls that blur the line between reality and nightmare. What makes this film stand out is its atmosphere. Claustrophobic, shadowy, and dripping with dread. It doesn't rely on flashy effects, but on pure psychological tension, pulling viewers into Jessica's unraveling mind. If you enjoy nerve-wracking horror that plays tricks on your senses, Last Shift is a hidden gem. And from haunted corridors, we descend into a nightmare of war trauma and hallucinations. Jacob's Ladder isn't just a horror film, it's a descent into madness. This haunting story follows Jacob, a Vietnam veteran, as he struggles with trauma, grief, and terrifying hallucinations that blur the line between life and death. The film captures the torment of a broken mind, mixing war trauma, family tragedy, and surreal nightmare imagery that leaves you shaken. It's disturbing not because of monsters, but because of the raw emotions it pulls out of you. Even decades later, few films match its ability to unsettle and disorient. It's a puzzle of horror and heartbreak, one that lingers long after the credits roll. But if Jacob's torment rattled you, wait until you experience the family tragedy in this next film. Few modern horror films have divided audiences like Hereditary, but love it or hate it, you'll never forget it. Ari Aster crafts a slow, devastating tale of grief that transforms into pure nightmare fuel. At its heart is Toni Collette's powerhouse performance as a mother watching her family unravel after an unthinkable tragedy. What begins as a heartbreaking drama soon mutates into scenes so terrifying you'll want to look away, but can't. The tension builds relentlessly, and by the time the horrifying finale arrives, you'll be left breathless. It's not just a movie, it's an experience that cuts straight to the bone. Now, from family horror to icy paranoia, let's talk about one of Carpenter's greatest works. John Carpenter's The Thing is horror at its absolute peak. Tense, gruesome, and brilliantly paranoid. Set in a frozen Antarctic outpost, a group of researchers discovers an alien creature that can mimic any living being. That means anyone, friend, colleague, even you, could be the monster in disguise. This creates unbearable tension as trust dissolves and survival turns into suspicion. The groundbreaking practical effects still shock to this day, but what truly makes The Thing terrifying is the paranoia. It's not just about what's lurking in the dark, but who you can't trust beside you. It's bleak, brilliant, and utterly unforgettable. And finally, let's end with the king of psychological horror itself. When it comes to psychological horror, nothing towers quite like The Shining. Stanley Kubrick takes Stephen King's novel and transforms it into a chilling exploration of isolation and madness. Jack Nicholson's descent as Jack Torrance is legendary. Watching him spiral from struggling writer to violent maniac is as terrifying as any ghost in the Overlook Hotel. The imagery is iconic. The blood-filled elevators, the eerie twins, the endless hallways. But the real horror lies in the slow, suffocating breakdown of a family trapped in a haunted space. Disturbing, stylish, and unforgettable, The Shining is the gold standard of psychological horror. So those were 7 psychological horrors that will stick with you long after the credits roll. Which one's your favorite? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And if you want more chilling recommendations, don't miss my video on the top 5 new TV shows. It's right here on screen. Until next time, this is SD from Top Watchlist signing off.